the Frog Hollow Farm here today collecting some fantastic tomatoes for a question and comment that I get very often at the farm, and that is canning tomatoes is difficult. It takes too long and it's hard. I'm here today to show you that you can can 7 quarts of fantastic fresh tomatoes in 30 minutes or less. So let's go ahead and get into picking tomatoes and get started. All right, we've just come up from the field where we picked our tomatoes, about 25 pounds worth. That'll get you the 7 quarts that a batch will put up at one time. Maybe you've gotten the tomatoes from your own garden or you got them at Frog Hollow Farm, but you'll need about 50 average sized tomatoes or 25 pounds. This flat right here is a 25-pound flat, so you can get a visual as to the amount that you're gonna need. But yeah, let's get started. There are a couple of things at the beginning that you wanna pay attention to when you are picking your tomatoes. What makes this a fast process is if you don't pick them too unripe. So this one right here could still use a couple of days on the vine. This one right here is nice and dark red. You can see the difference in the color. And don't let the bummer tomatoes that have kind of this ugly looking top go to waste, because truly your really vine ripe tomatoes, especially if you've gone through a rain, are gonna get these splits and these dark spots, and you're gonna cut that away, so don't waste them. But when you're selecting, make sure it's a nice soft red one and not a pale red one. So we're gonna set that one aside. And it's pretty elementary. I have my bowl in front of me that I'm gonna have the final chopped up product in. I have my skins in front of me, which is usually opposite of how people can. But the reason I do it this way is all the juice that is directly underneath the skin is so valuable and so acidic and so tasty that I don't want to waste any of it, which is why you do not see a big pot of boiling water, because I am not going to blanch my tomatoes. They are being peeled just like a peach to save all of that acidy juice. So here we cut off that yucky top. I toss it over there. I cut the bottom off, and then I just start peeling. And when it's super, super ripe, it doesn't take long at all. Once in a while, you'll drop one. And after a while, you kind of develop an art. When you get down here to the bottom, I press my thumb, I finish it off so that it's kind of pressed between my knife and my thumb, and then I drop it so that you're not wasting so much time picking up an extra skin in the bowl that has the product that you're actually gonna can. And the other thing I do, I don't use a cutting board. Again, that's a chance for you to waste all that wonderful acidic juice. I actually cut up in the sizes that I need, just like this. And then it is kind of helpful if you have a little length to your fingernail. And I cut up just like that. I get a very inexpensive serrated knife from a grocery store or online. And I actually use one that I've maybe used all summer for other things, and it's a little bit dull, so I don't cut myself. And I very quickly chop up, and that's about a pound right there. And you're gonna need about 2.5 to 3.5 pounds per jar. So you can see how fast it's already going. I haven't wasted time filling the stock pot up with 100 pounds of water and then waited 45 minutes for it to boil. I'm going right to town on dicing the tomatoes. Now you can see here, and I did this on purpose, this is one that is not ripe enough. You can definitely tell the difference in the colors of one that is just beautiful. So I'm actually gonna discard this one because it'll not look nice in my jar. Probably when I mix it in with all the other really tasty red ones, we wouldn't know the difference, but I want it to look pretty in the jar. So we're getting close to having enough to fill one jar. We kind of prepped ahead of time before and got all the other 6 jars filled. So we're just working on the last one. And again, I slice it, kind of grab it with my nails. And it is good to get all the skins. I know probably when you have made soup or you've made spaghetti sauce, you can always tell when there's one little skin that didn't come off because it just looks funky at the top of the pot. And so as much as you can, try and get all those skins off. I want to talk about the variety of tomato that I'm doing right now. It's a new one that came out from Tomato Fest. It's called Anthony's Passionate Heart, and it is a cross between a sun gold cherry tomato and an Amish paste. I trialed it last year and it quickly became even one of my favorite heirloom tomatoes, yet alone canning tomatoes, and it is an heirloom tomato. It has enough juice to it. It's not like aroma. It's a little juicier than a San Marzano, but not as juicy as an heirloom tomato, which looks beautiful in the jar, but you definitely get a lot of water with the heirloom tomatoes. Okay, so I think we may have enough there to fill a jar. And I just put about a ½ teaspoon of salt in the bottom of my jar. Have a nice handy funnel. Set it down in front of me. And I'll tell you, it really is nice to be able to do this outside. I've rinsed my tomatoes off outside. Any juice that splashes around, it's just the ground where I can rinse off with a hose afterwards. Have some old clothes on because it is a bear to have all this juice in your kitchen and whatnot. So we're gonna go ahead and fill this jar up. Kind of push it down a little bit. And if you look here in the bottom of the bowl, look at all that yummy juice. If you had water bathed that and peeled it over your scrap bin, all of that yummy juice would be gone. Now some people like to take the seeds out too. Seeds are healthy. I am not bothered by them, so I leave them in my my canned tomatoes. Now we're just gonna, oh, that's wonderful. That is all the flavor, and we didn't waste any of it. So normally I would fill the jar all the way to the tippy top, but since we're gonna move on here, we've already got our salt in there, and I'm not adding any more water. It's just truly the tomatoes. So we got our lid on. Actually, before I do that, the most important thing is to wipe off where your lid's gonna seal, because if you have some product there, it could keep you from having a good seal, and then you'll lose the jar. Now, one thing that I really want to talk about, and this is the most important step of this whole process, and that is the equipment that I'm using, and it's the reason why this canning process can be truly achievable for so many people, because you're not water bathing, you're not filling a huge stock pot full of water and having to carry it. And this is I just call it the dome steamer. I'm sure there's a technical name for it. I've picked several of them up at yard sales. It was something my mom introduced me to a long time ago when she taught me how to can, and even got a little canning honor through her. It was kind of a fun time. But so the dome steamer is fast. Basically what it is an aluminum pot that has about 2 to 3 inches of water in it. You fill that up, you put the plate on, which has these steam holes through it. You place your jars strategically on there to not cover up the holes. I'm gonna start my flame. Again, this is so nice to do outside. I'm gonna put the lid on. And you'll see there's little holes on either side So there's 2 of them. I'm gonna heat that up till steam starts coming out the side in a nice steady stream. When it does, you time it for 15 minutes. And after that 15 minutes, bam, you're done. You take the lid off. Grab a rag. You could also grab one of these fancy dandy things, not necessary. Take them off. And in about 5 to 10 minutes, you're gonna start hearing the pop pop of your jars that are sealed. And that is it. So, 30 minutes, 25 pounds of tomatoes, or about 50 medium to large size ones. Skin them, chop them, funnel them into your quart jar. After you put salt in the bottom of it, go to Andy's Market or any place and buy one of these dome steamers. In 15 minutes, voila, you have 7 quarts of tomatoes to use as sauce or tomato soup or in chili or anything you want this winter. And I really do encourage you to come out to the farm and do a U-pick. It's a bargain of a deal. And there are kind of uncertain times, so it is nice to know how to do some of these simple processes. And that's what I really wanted to convey is, if you can make a cheesecake, you can certainly can 7 quarts of fantastic tomatoes for your family for this winter. And maybe you'll be ambitious and make it a party and have your whole family join you and crank out 28 quarts. Anyways, all right, ciao.